Floods are one of nature's most unforgiving phenomena, capable of reshaping cities, displacing millions, and leaving behind stories of both devastation and resilience. Today, we'll dive into some of the most catastrophic floods in recent history, showcasing their impact and how communities rebuilt in the aftermath. Imagine waking up to find your entire neighborhood submerged. This was the reality for over 13 million people in Thailand during the 2011 floods, one of the worst disasters in the nation's history. Torrential rains, worsened by poor drainage systems, caused rivers to overflow, inundating Bangkok and surrounding areas. Entire factories were destroyed, resulting in economic losses of over $45 billion. Yet, amidst the destruction, the people of Thailand came together, showcasing incredible resilience. Relief camps, makeshift boats, and community kitchens became symbols of their unity in the face of disaster. In 2010, monsoon rains unleashed havoc across Pakistan. Within days, floodwaters consumed villages, farms, and roads, affecting nearly 20 million people. The swollen Indus River tore through vast agricultural lands, leaving thousands homeless and millions without food or water. The images of families stranded on rooftops became a haunting reminder of how fragile life can be when nature strikes. Yet, the international community rallied, and with time, Pakistan began the painstaking process of recovery. August 2005 saw one of the most infamous disasters in U.S. history. Hurricane Katrina slammed into the Gulf Coast, but it was the levee breaches in New Orleans that caused catastrophic flooding. Entire neighborhoods were underwater, with over 1,800 lives lost. The aftermath revealed significant flaws in disaster preparedness and response, sparking a nationwide conversation on infrastructure and equity. Despite the devastation, the people of New Orleans demonstrated incredible resilience, rebuilding their vibrant city one step at a time. The serene Himalayan region of Uttarakhand, India, turned into a nightmare in June 2013. A combination of heavy rainfall and melting glaciers triggered flash floods and landslides, wiping out entire villages and leaving thousands dead or missing. The Kedarnath Temple, a symbol of hope and faith, stood amidst the rubble, a poignant reminder of nature's dual power to destroy and endure. Rescue operations were among the largest ever undertaken in the region, as survivors clung to hope and humanity rallied to aid. In 2018, the picturesque Indian state of Kerala faced its worst floods in nearly a century. Unprecedented rainfall turned rivers into raging torrents, displacing over 1 million people. Rescue operations were broadcast live, showing daring helicopter rescues and communities coming together to provide shelter. Kerala's story became one of hope, as people worldwide donated generously to aid recovery efforts. Heavy rains in August 2017 triggered a devastating mudslide in Sierra Leone's capital, Freetown. Hundreds of homes were buried, and over 1,000 lives were lost in a matter of minutes. Survivors described the terror of hearing the roar of collapsing earth and water rushing down hillsides. The tragedy underscored the dangers of deforestation and poor urban planning in vulnerable regions. Cyclone Idai brought not just heavy rains, but also storm surges, creating a deadly combination that ravaged Mozambique in March 2019. Entire towns were swallowed by water, and over 3 million people were affected. International aid poured in, but the recovery was slow, hindered by the sheer scale of destruction. This disaster highlighted the urgent need for global action on climate change. Australia's Brisbane River turned into a torrent in 2011, flooding large parts of the city and displacing thousands. The heavy rains that caused the disaster were attributed to a La Niña weather pattern. Despite the damage, the Australian spirit shone through as communities came together to rebuild. The resilience of Brisbane's residents became a story of hope amidst the chaos. In May 2014, Serbia, Bosnia, and Croatia faced their worst flooding in over 120 years. Rivers swelled beyond control, inundating towns and villages. Landslides destroyed homes and thousands were evacuated. The tragedy brought the region closer together, with neighbors helping neighbors across borders in a heartwarming display of solidarity. Myanmar faced severe monsoon floods in 2015, affecting millions and displacing entire communities. The Irrawaddy River breached its banks, flooding agricultural lands and cutting off remote villages. The disaster emphasized the vulnerability of developing nations to climate-related events and the need for better preparedness. Louisiana, USA, experienced catastrophic flooding in 2016 after a slow-moving storm dropped record rainfall. Thousands of homes were submerged, and the disaster caught many off guard. The community response was extraordinary, with countless volunteers stepping in to rescue neighbors and rebuild lives. Japan saw record-breaking rainfall in July 2018, triggering landslides and flooding that claimed hundreds of lives. Roads turned into rivers, and entire neighborhoods were buried under mud. The government's rapid response and the community's resilience were critical in minimizing further loss and rebuilding. In early 2019, Iran was struck by relentless rainfall that triggered widespread flooding across multiple provinces. Rivers swelled beyond their banks, submerging towns and forcing thousands to flee. The floods wreaked havoc on infrastructure and agriculture, with roads washed away and farmlands inundated. In a land already battling economic hardships, the floods tested the resilience of its people. Jakarta, Indonesia's bustling capital, is no stranger to flooding, but 2020 saw one of its worst episodes. Torrential rain overwhelmed drainage systems, turning streets into rivers and displacing thousands. Many residents found themselves stranded in waist-deep water, while others clung to rooftops, awaiting rescue. The event reignited conversations about climate change and urban planning in one of the world's fastest-growing cities. Henan Province, China, witnessed unprecedented rainfall in July 2021, with the city of Zhengzhou enduring the brunt. In just 3 days, the region received the equivalent of a year's worth of rain. Subway stations were submerged and vehicles floated down streets like toys. The disaster claimed over 300 lives, a stark reminder of how quickly urban areas can succumb to nature's wrath. In 2017, unusual weather patterns caused torrential rains across Peru, triggering floods and landslides. Towns were buried in mud, roads vanished under torrents, and thousands were left homeless. Videos of rivers flowing through streets showed the raw, unrelenting power of water. Recovery was a monumental task, but the people of Peru showed incredible resolve in rebuilding their lives. Nigeria experienced catastrophic flooding in 2018 as rivers overflowed following weeks of heavy rain. Thousands of homes were submerged and entire communities displaced. The disaster highlighted the vulnerability of developing nations to extreme weather events and the urgent need for disaster preparedness. Known for its iconic canals, Venice faced its worst flooding in decades in 2019. Exceptionally high tides, or acqua alta, submerged much of the historic city, damaging landmarks like St. Mark's Square. Mark's Basilica. Footage of tourists wading through flooded squares went viral, but for Venetians it was a stark warning about the impacts of rising sea levels. Sudan declared a state of emergency in 2020 as record-breaking floods devastated the nation. The Nile River reached its highest levels in a century, inundating homes and displacing millions. Entire villages were wiped out, and the crisis underscored the need for international aid and robust flood management systems. Chennai, one of India's largest cities, was brought to its knees in 2015 by heavy monsoon rains. Streets turned into lakes, cutting off transportation and power to millions. The IT hub's economy was severely disrupted, but the community came together to rescue stranded neighbors and provide aid. Southern Alberta, Canada, faced its most devastating flood in decades in 2013. Heavy rainfall caused rivers to overflow, leading to mass evacuations in Calgary and surrounding areas. Downtown streets were submerged, and damage costs soared into the billions. The Canadian spirit shone brightly as neighbors helped each other recover and rebuild. China's capital, Beijing, endured its heaviest rainfall in 6 decades in 2012. The torrential downpour overwhelmed the city's drainage system, leading to urban flooding that left dozens dead and thousands stranded. The event highlighted the challenges faced by rapidly urbanizing areas in dealing with extreme weather. Known for its vibrant music scene, Nashville, Tennessee found itself underwater in 2010. The Cumberland River swelled beyond its banks, flooding homes, businesses, and iconic landmarks like the Grand Ole Opry. The community's recovery efforts became a testament to the enduring spirit of this resilient city. The small village of Boscastle in the UK faced a flash flood in 2004 when torrential rains overwhelmed its narrow valleys. Cars were swept away and homes were destroyed. Remarkably, no lives were lost, thanks to quick rescue efforts. The event became a case study in flood management and emergency response. Floods remind us of nature's immense power and our vulnerability. Each of these disasters tells a story of destruction, resilience, and recovery. As climate change intensifies, these events are becoming more frequent and severe, urging us to prepare better and work towards sustainable solutions. That said, thanks for watching, and until next time.